One of the things that I've found really interesting today is the acute awareness of everybody presenting about the importance of remembering that the people that we're talking about are people, and they're not data subjects, they're people, and that we need to always remember that, the human side of the work that we do.
What I loved was Esme Ward from Manchester Museum's point about methods fog. There's millions, if not gazillions, of methods out there that we could be using. I think we've got to cut all of the everything and get down to the points that John Nell was making about if we can come up with a common outcomes framework. Other organisations have done this. The NHS are currently doing it for social prescribing. If they can do it with the complexities of the health system, I'm pretty sure that we can as a cultural sector. So a cultural value outcomes framework is possible.
All of Esme's presentation resonated, not least because of her real honesty about the challenges that she had faced, that the museum sector had faced in undertaking really useful research.
And one of the big points I made today was the need to understand who's asking the question and then understand what kind of evidence they need to help kind of put your case forward. The other thing I thought was really interesting is the general consensus that we need to work together to bring together kind of common ground in terms of frameworks and outcomes. And I think that's something we can work with the sector to come to a common conclusion on what we want to put forward as our main big drivers and goals or outcomes.
Especially that culture, the value of culture is much more than GDP or employment rates. Looking from an economic point of view, I think that's very important to look at elements as well-being, as capacity of agents, of all elements that are completely related with well-living, with a new narrative about economic and social value.
Hey, my name's Saskia, I'm from Z Arts in Hume in Manchester. I've really enjoyed coming today. We do a lot of work with our communities. We're a children and families art centre, so we do a lot of work around social impact. It's been really interesting just to reflect and think about the questions that we ask, why we're asking them, how we're asking them, who we're asking them to, and kind of what's the point. I think there is a point, and today's sort of helped me clarify some of those things. The thing that I'm going to take away from today is I really believe that whatever questions we ask and whatever impact we can prove, there needs to be some really excellent advocacy on behalf of arts and culture, and that we should be taking people on the journey with us, and people should feel passionate about it as if their bins were to stop being collected. We need to get that kind of response in everybody and get them to appreciate that arts and culture does really have an impact on their lives.
I've been thinking a lot that some of our most important projects at Contact work with very small numbers of young people over a long time, but are genuinely life-changing. But somehow those projects and those young people disappear in our data because there's such a small number of them. And we need better ways at capturing the impact of those long, deep projects that can really affect change in those young people's lives and their communities. But our current means of capturing, evidencing and talking about our work don't foreground those stories very effectively.
And to trust in people that are actually carrying out the practical side of things, and to trust that they have their own ways of evaluating and measuring impact, like blogs, podcast videos, just case studies.
When going into a process of evaluation or research or evidence collection or production, we need to think about what the kind of politics, what are the power relations that lie behind that, and who's going to benefit from particular types of methods or frameworks or models being used. In whose interest does this lie? We are talking a lot about communities and about so-called hard-to-reach people in our towns and cities, but for the most part they're not in the room with us today. So I think it's really important to keep reminding ourselves who we're talking about and why.
I hope the most important point that's come across is
is actually having confidence in ourselves, and being ourselves is owning our creativity and being as imaginative as we can be, and not playing other people's games or trying to move what we do to the tune of others, but actually having the confidence in our own distinctive voice, whether that's our participants or ourselves. And if we can do that, I think we can carve a niche, and we can do something that really speaks to who we are in a way that absolutely nobody else can.